Okay, now that we're all home because we're in quarantine and working from home, if we're working from home or gaming from home, I thought it would be a great time to talk about clicky switches because those don't get enough love. Clicky switches are loud and obnoxious, and I'm going to tell you about the two main types to annoy your coworkers, family, and friends in your house and when you decide to return to work and destroy their concentration when you're typing. The most common clicky switch is the click jacket switch, which are often blue. And then we got the newer click bar switches, which are often box style switches. For examples, I'm going to be using the Kailh Pro Greens, as well as the Kailh Box Jades. Do note that there's other types of switches with their similar styles, such as the Cherry MX Blue being the most prevalent of click jacket switches, and boxed whites being the most common of click bar switches. To see how they work to create the sound, we're going to have to crack them open with a switch opener. Let's look at the most common one, which is the click jacket switch first. Here, if we look at the stem of the switch, we can tell why it's called a click jacket switch. This little white plastic here is called the click jacket. Now this part will move down after it reaches a certain point on the switch depending on which switch you bought. When you press it down to that certain point, that part will go straight down and hit the bottom of your switch, creating the click sound. This design typically gives off a lighter sounding click. However, due to the nature of the jacket, it may sound and even feel kind of rattly. Click bar switches are much newer and they use a different method. The stem is designed completely differently, so there's a little protrusion here on the stem itself. This will pass over this bar, which is on the bottom part of the switch housing. This design is very tactile and will provide two very crispy sounding clicks. This is by design because this little protrusion here will pass the bar twice, one during a downstroke and one during an upstroke. The sound of these can be described as being very thick. You get thick, rattleless clicks. However, you lose the lightness that you would find in click jacket switches. That said, let's get to the sound test. And so that's pretty much it on clicky switches. I could talk a little bit more like about hysteresis or, you know, the whole reset point thing, but this video is more about the sound of switches. I guess I could talk about click leaf switches, but not a lot of people use Alp switches to start with. So we're gonna just stick with the main two that are most commonly available. Now you kind of have an idea of its sound. I can't exactly give you an idea of its feel though, because it's kind of hard to describe since you can't really just reach into the screen and feel what I felt. Anyway, if it helps, click bar switches are very tactile in comparison to click bar switches. You can really feel it in your fingers in comparison. This isn't to say that click jacket switches can't be tactile. I'm just saying click bar switches tend to be far more tactile. I mean, that's kind of what they're described as, even in their, you know, like their product descriptions typically. I'm gonna leave some links in the description so you can find them. If they're sold out right now, this is 2020 pandemic times. Stock's been rough for everybody lately, so keep that in mind. As for Chinese seller shipping, I don't know how long it's gonna take. I've ordered some switches from like KBD fans, and I've still yet to see them. They say they sent them, but I haven't seen them yet. So, you know, if you're a US buyer, I would probably go to someone like Novel Keys, but their stock goes out real quick. So make sure to like sign up so that way they'll email you when shit's in stock. I said shit again. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll help me out on YouTube, as it will help me spread throughout the thing like a pandemic that I am. Have a good one, guys.